Hello, good morning, everyone. Mr. Brown, good morning to you, sir. Good morning to you, sir. I see Femi Akongo. Thank you for joining. Good morning to you, sir. Who else do we have? About 20 of us right now. And Jorax, good morning to you, sir. Thank you for joining. Welcome, sir. Good morning to you, sir. This is Samuel. Samuel Ikujebi. I hope that's right. That's a powerful name. So welcome, sir. It's great to have you. Oh, fantastic. It's great to know, sir. You're welcome. I believe it's morning for you too. Good morning to you. You're welcome. It's great to have you join us. You're welcome. Most welcome, sir. Peter Popola, right here in the city of Ibadan. No, this is not the first class this year. This is like two, three, four, five, should be the fourth or fifth class this year. Not the first one at all. Should be the fourth or fifth class already. That's for endurance. Right. About 3 more minutes and then we get started. If you are yet to drop a comment in the chat box, please do well to say something to allow about 2 more minutes and then we get started, just to allow more people to join in to reduce the lag and then can make sure that everyone is on the same page and it reduces the back and forth. Can get started at the same time. Who else do we have? Guessing it's your first class because this is like the fourth or fifth class for me. So maybe it's your first. I think I've seen you on this forum a few times. Yeah, good morning to you, Al Hassan Abu Bakar. Good morning to you. It's great to have you. And I have Thomas. Yeah, thank you for joining. You're welcome. It's great to have you. Haven't seen Ichile Issa Sadiq, my friend from Ilorin. I'm sure he will be here soon. All right. We should get started right away as more people join in. Okay. It's about 1 minute remaining, but let's get started for the sake of those that have been here much earlier. All right. Okay, so today is the third day of February 2026, of course. Good morning once again, and there is me wishing us a happy new month. So everyone present right now on this call, good morning once again. Good morning, ladies. Good morning, gentlemen. Good morning, traders as well. If it's your first time, good morning to you. It's great to have you join us on today's edition of the Morning Market Review, MMR for short. So every day from 8 to 9, we use this opportunity to look at what's going on in the markets and consider the fundamental events that we have. And then we head over to the trading platform to check out the technical setups as well. We do all of this with the hope that we'll be able to pick one or two entries from these sessions. And then we also have trade ideas uh, that means assets that we can add to our watch list for today and even for the rest of the week, of course, especially today. And I also like to add that you've been with us for some time now. I want to believe you already have a good winning strategy, so to say, right? So on a daily basis, we bring different analysts so that they can have a broad perspective on how uh, analysis is done. And then at the end of the day, it is our belief that you'll be able to find one that you uh, resonate with, that you find comfortable and convenient. Because at the end of the day, it's all about having that edge, and it's all about winning too, right? Um, let's get right to it. Let's get right to it without further ado. Okay, and usually we start with the majors, and then from there we start looking at other pairs as well. And what all we're trying to do is to get their key important levels. All right, to get their important key levels so that we can uh, understand the potential trade setups for them, and as I said, especially for today. And then we also come across assets that we can add to our watch list for uh, the coming days. All right. And then, yeah, oh, yeah, Daily, I don't have my screen up yet. All right. So before we get to the trading platform, let's look at what we have for fundamentals. So you're going to see my screen in a minute. Just a second. There you go. Okay, so I believe my screen is up now. I'm going to refresh it. So it's synced with the local time. All right. So I have the same time on the website as my laptop time. Okay. So today, Tuesday, the third day of February, earlier, 4:30 a.m., we got cash rate decision for the Australian dollar. All right. So can expect to see some increased movement for the Australian dollar by the time we get to the charts. And then later today, of course, it's tentative. I think there is now a partial shutdown in the US. So later today, still tentative though, we have the jobs job openings. All right, we have the jobs job openings, and then later in the day as well, 10:45 p.m. We're going to have employment data for the New Zealand dollar. All right, so if you're a fan of that, to be a good time to watch what the actual results is going to be. And then, of course, actual greater than forecast for employment would be good, and actual less than forecast for unemployment will be good for New Zealand dollar. All right. So we have employment and unemployment 10:45 p.m. Right. So like I said, if you're a fan of NZD, you should have eyes on this, and then you'll be looking at NZD USD or NZD CAD, right? So cash rate decision for Australian dollar. Then we have job openings for the US dollar. Of course, that's simply job openings and labor turnover survey. All right. That of course may sound boring to you, but in trading and economics, it's one of the most hyped reports of the month, right? It's simply the number of job openings, all right, excluding the farming industry, right? And of course, we are well aware that job openings are like a leading indicator of overall employment, right? So job creation is an important indicator of consumer spending as well. And this accounts for the majority of economic activity in the US. So on a monthly basis, the government checks in with thousands of businesses to see what's happening, especially with their staff, all right? Because we're looking at job openings, right? So especially with the staff. So they track four main figures or numbers. Job openings, that is how many jobs are empty and actively looking for someone to fill them in, job openings. And then hirings, how many people actually got a job and started working. And then they also track the number of people that have quit their jobs. How many people quit on their own, all right? Because if people are quitting, it means that they are probably confident that they can easily find a better and higher paying job somewhere else, all right? And then they also track the fourth metric is layoffs as well. How many people were fired or they were had to let go because the company didn't have enough work for them. All right. So those are the major figures or metrics that are tracked. Job openings, number of hires, number of people that quit, and number of people that were fired. All right. So the Federal Reserve watched this report very closely, and it's important because we can make a decision with interest rates with this data. All right. For example, if job openings are high, it means businesses are desperate for workers, right? Like, of course, they want more people to join. And that would also mean that they have to pay higher wages, all right? Which again can also lead to inflation, that is prices for everything going up. And if this happens, that's where the Fed comes in and they want to raise interest rates, all right? And on the other side, if job openings are low too, it means it's cooling down. Businesses are not really hiring, and this might mean that the economy is also slowing down. And the Federal Reserve also has a role to play in that, which may mean that they may have to cut interest rates to help the economy. All right. So it's saying all of that to say that it's an important metric, and you see why it has a red envelope as well. Okay. And then for the cash rate, of course, this was out earlier, 4:30 a.m., right? And then it was increased in over 2 years from a previous value of 3.6%, right? And then increased to 3.85%. So we would expect some strength for the Australian dollar, right? So it was raised by 25 basis points from 3.6 to 3.85. And if it's increased, that's the interest rate, it means that we're going to expect some strength for the Australian dollar. And then we're going to see how that plays out on the chart. So that's a little bit of what we have in terms of fundamentals, all right? Events that are expected to drive price today. And later as well, 10:45 p.m., we have for the New Zealand dollar. Okay, so having said that, now head over to the trading platform to see what we have for technicals. So I'm going to stop this and then Now we want to look at technical. Let's look at technical. Right. So, as usual, as is our usual practice, this is the dollar index. This is the dollar index, right? Of course, you already know we start from here. This asset right here is our barometer for the rest of the forex market. I believe very strongly that once we understand the direction of the dollar, we can pretty much navigate the rest of the forex markets, right? And that's one of the reasons why this is very important for me, as the USD index measures the value of the US dollar against about 6 major currencies. So it's quite an important one. All right. So I have USD index on the monthly time frame because I'd like to do like a quick overview as to how we got to this point, okay, for the USD index. Now, let me be quick to also point out the fact that we really don't pay much attention to the weekly or the monthly time frame because I believe those time frames are so far out that they really don't have much relevance to us as day traders. However, we can of course use them to get some perspective of what's going on in the market. And the example that I like to use here is that imagine if you're trying to spy on your neighbor, right? Of course, stays beside you, and you could just use a ladder, all right, to keep at your neighbor's house. But instead of a ladder, you now use a rocket ship. Now, what it means that the rocket ship is now so far in space that you can hardly see the thing that matters to you. That's your neighbor, because you're using a spaceship instead of a ladder. All right. That's how I like to interpret the weekly or the monthly time frame. It takes you so far out that you hardly see what is important to you. Okay. However, like I said, you can use them to get some perspective in the market. So for me, I stay with either the daily time frame or the 4 hours time frame for key levels, and then tune down to 15 minutes for a much more precise entry opportunity. All right. So here is the dollar index on the monthly time frame. So it started all the way back from 2010. All right, from 2010 right here, and even this one almost at the same level. This was in 2008. Found support right here, and then all the way up from there back to the trend line support right here, and then all the way up here again, all the way up, give us these 3 points here, and then back to the trend line support, all the way to the trend line resistance, and then currently on the trend line support. Right. So for me, this is an ascending channel, right? So it has stayed consistent between the trend line support here and the trend line resistance. And currently we have it around the trend line support. So I have reasons to believe that it's heading all the way back to the trend line resistance. Of course, that's the expectation. It doesn't mean that that's going to happen. Of course, the market is dynamic and the market has the final say. But of course, by way of technical analysis, we can use what we have seen before to determine what we expect to happen next. Okay, so that's it on the monthly time frame. And then since it should be April, right? Since April, price broke below 100 support right here. See how here has served as support multiple times, multiple attempts right here too. Couldn't break below 100. Same thing with this level, couldn't break below 100. And eventually in April, right? In April, early April, price eventually broke below 100 support. And of course, that automatically flipped to resistance. And since April, it has stayed between 100 resistance and 96 support levels. See, this was April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December, January, and then currently we have February. And of course, this has been more of the consolidation market for me. based on what the monthly time frame is saying. So we have it between 100 resistance and 96 support. So as it is right now, it's recently tested the 96 support level, and now I have reason to believe that it's heading all the way back to 100. It's heading all the way back to 100. So that's the perspective on the monthly time frame. Now we head to daily to see what we have. Right. So from 96 that I just highlighted on the monthly time frame, of course, it dipped below 96, and then we got a close back above 96. Now, if you remember fake out, I have highlighted the fact that it's one of my favorite ways to trade, right? It's one of my favorite ways to trade. It's a high probability trade setup for me. And fake out simply means a failed breakout, a breakout that failed. And fake outs like this usually will trigger an extensive move in the opposite direction, all right? And that's what I was saying so far. I'm going to highlight it further. So we got a break below 96 right here, which is a key level based on what has happened before, and then it closed back above 96. So for that reason, now I am expecting USD index to push aggressively, all right, in the opposite direction. So I'm expecting more upside push for the USD index. However, with these bullish moves, of course, we would expect some correction, right? We would expect some correction before the next leg higher, okay, before the next leg higher. And for me, that correction would be, so this is the resistance, and you see why that's where it stops, all right? Then we're going to expect some retracements, right? We're going to expect some retracements before the next leg higher. Now, while the retracement is ongoing, we'd expect pairs like the euro dollar, the pounds dollar, the AUD USD, and all the other major pairs to, of course, react to that. For example, while this is pushing to the downside to get some correction, we'd expect euro USD to push higher as a result, and then pounds USD to push higher as well. But this would be the most great level for buyers, all right, in order for this to continue to push higher, okay, as this is now a significant resistance level at around 7.5. So as soon as buyers are able to take price above my 7.5, push price above my 7.5, then going to expect the bullish run to continue, right? So I'm going to draw where I expect the pullback to get to from this low right to this high. Okay. So I'm looking at the 50% level and the 61.8% level. That's for the dollar index. Yeah, exactly. You're right with your observation endurance. Okay. So that's it for the dollar index. That's it for the dollar index. Of course, there are no guarantees going to come inside of this range. But of course, we do have that. That would be my bias for a bullish move or a break above this resistance at 97.5, right? So those are the two things I'm looking out for on USD index to guide how I trade the rest of the forex market, especially the major pairs, as I said. Okay, so that's for the USD index. Now we head over to the rest of the major pairs. And you're right with your observation, endurance. Yeah, so that's it for USD index. Now we head over to Euro USD. Okay, AUD JPY. I think you mentioned this from last week. I think you mentioned that from last week. How is that trade going for you? Right. So for Euro USD, um, don't forget, as I said, we now expect some correction from the dollar index. And knowing that the Euro USD is essentially the inverse of the dollar index, while the dollar index is correcting to the downside, pushing lower, you can expect Euro USD to also push higher. And this represents the support for Euro USD at 1.178. For the dollar index, it is 97.5. All right, so at 97.5. So this is the daily time frame. So let's take this to 15 minutes. So if we are going to take advantage of the correction from the dollar, what it means is that we'll be looking for opportunities to buy here, right? We'll be looking for opportunities to buy here. And currently, it's above the 50-period moving average, and then it's creating highs right there as well. Okay, so what I need to see here for Euro USD on 15 minutes time frame would be one, a pullback into this area, and then I take my buys from there to take advantage of the correction expected for USD index. Right? You see how this now becomes easy because we started with the dollar index. That's why I like to take my time to explain the direction on the USD index because it's going to make the rest of the major pairs look really easy. Okay, so we're expecting a pullback into this area, and then we take our buys from there. All right, we take our buys from there. Of course, above the 50-period moving average 65 strength. All right, and then it's also in line with the analysis that we did for the dollar index. Okay, so some correction towards this support trend line right there, and that would be my trigger to go in for a buy. However, what would invalidate this would be if eventually what we see is a close below the trend line support right here. Okay, if that happens, then maybe gearing up for some deep retracement, all right, for some deep retracement. But above that trend line, as I said, it's bullish. It's bullish. Euro USD. Absolutely. Exactly what I said. Exactly what I said. So you are correct with your observation. That's a bullish engulfing candle. Okay, that's a bullish engulfing candle. I believe it's just what you're referring to. See how this is way longer than the previous red candle we got right here. Okay, so for this reason, it's expected that price will continue to push higher. It's also taking out the previous highs right here. It's taken out these previous highs. Yeah, you see that? Initially, these were resistance points, and now this candle convincingly broke above that. We tested it as support, and now we have some bullish continuation. Okay, so as long as it stays above the support, you can expect more upside movement for Euro USD. And of course, if the USD index direction is anything to go by, then we understand why this is expected for the Euro USD. All right. If it's the same candle, it broke above the resistance. All right. This candle broke above the resistance. You see how this level here served as resistance and even here as well. But eventually we got that break, a convincing break above the resistance right here. And then this red candle retested it as support. That's why we have this lower shadow right here. Okay, and then we're seeing a follow through candle, right? So I said as long as this finish bullish as well, this current candle on the 15 minutes time frame, if at the end of 15 minutes, we also have a bullish candle right here, then we have confirmation that it's going to continue to push higher. All right. What would invalidate that would be a close back below this support right here. Okay. Here it was resistance, here it was resistance as well. So when price broke above it, it automatically flew to support. And now price staying above that means that continues to push to the upside. All right. That's for Euro USD on 15 minutes time frame. Now moving on to pound USD, which is similar to Euro USD. So again, you see pound USD pushing all the way to this support as well. All right, to this support. Initially, it was resistance back here. It was resistance back here. And now we have it as support right here. For the Euro USD, if you have a buy trade or you just entered a buy trade, your stop loss is expected to be below the previous low point. So we're looking at somewhere below this confluence of support right here, somewhere below this area. All right. And don't forget, that's why I like my entry on the 15 minutes time frame, so that if it's wrong, it takes me out really fast at minimal loss, and then I can wait for the next setup. All right. And don't forget, as I said before, having one win does not make you a great trader, as much as having one loss does not make you a bad trader. Right? It's in the consistency. Okay, it's in the consistency. Right. So pounds USD. So for pounds USD 2 came back to test this as support. Initially, it was resistance right here. Okay, so the expectation for pounds USD 2 is it stays above this level, then you can expect it to continue to push higher. That's the daily time frame bias. Okay, so we can then head over to 15 minutes for a much more precise entry. All right, on the 15 minutes time frame. Then you also see how it's beginning to create higher highs and higher lows on the 15 minutes time frame. So let's see if we connect a trend line here as well. Okay. So what this means is that, again, on 15 minutes time frame, we have a trend line support right here. And you see how prices are pushing away from that as soon as it tested it, and also above the 50 period moving average. All right. So all of this is pointing to a bullish move. Okay. All of this is pointing to a bullish move. So for pounds USD 2, at the end of this 15 minutes, it ends up as a bullish engulfing candle. We have a red candle right there sitting on support, and then we are now seeing a green candle, a bullish candle, way longer than the red candle. All right, that's a bullish engulfing candle. But of course, a lot can happen in 15 minutes. That's why it's important to wait for the candle to start and finish. And then we're clear on what we have before the entry. Okay. Yeah, I answered that. I laid for the steady. Sorry if I didn't pronounce that right. Okay, so that's for pounds USD. I'm going to get to AUD JPY stone, and then which is the other one, CHF JPY. But first, I want to look at USD JPY. USD JPY 2 is inside of this ascending channel as well, just like we highlighted for the USD index on the monthly time frame. So for USD JPY, it's recently tested the trendline support right here, all right? Gave us a bullish pattern, and then we see that bullish move. So this 50 period moving average right here is now acting as resistance for price. And then we have the 155.5 resistance level right there as well. Okay. So for USD JPY, of course, USD is the base currency here. So let's take it to 15 minutes. On the 15 minutes time frame, this is our 155.5 resistance level. And then we have support right here. Okay, and then prices are below the 50 period moving average. So we have resistance right here, currently sitting on support, and then also below the 50 period moving average. So what I need to see here on this 15 minutes time frame would be a break below that trend line support. All right, so I need to see price break below that and also close below that trend line support. So that automatically flips to resistance, and then I can now take my sales below that trend line support. And that would mean that I'm selling at resistance to take advantage of the correction that we expect for the dollar index, because USD is the base currency right here. Okay, so that's for USD JPY. AUD USD. So as I said earlier, for the Australian dollar, the Reserve Bank of Australia early today, 4:30 a.m. I believe, they had their first rate hike in about 2 years. All right, was increased by 25 basis points from 3.6 to 3.85. All right, so that outcome is expected to strengthen the Australian dollar. All right, and it's not surprising that we now have this move on the chart. Okay, it's not surprising that we now have this move on the chart. Okay, so for AUD USD, continue to look for opportunities to buy right here. Okay, continue to look for opportunities to buy, and also we have this resistance right here. Endurance. I'm going to go back to it in a minute. Let's give me a second. Right. So that's for AUD USD. That's for AUD USD. So resistance right here, and then we need to see how price reacts to that resistance before we make true decisions right here. Okay, if it breaks above that, then we'll expect it to detect this other resistance right there. Let's see what it looks like on 15 minutes. Okay, so this is the resistance we're looking at. So we're waiting to see how price reacts to that resistance right there. Okay, the candlestick you're talking about on Williams is around 23 2nd February 2015. It's always back in the fall. Okay, let's do that because of your observation. This is 15 minutes. 23. 23:02. Okay. Yeah, so I believe it's this one. I believe it's this one. I believe it's this one. Yeah, this is because there's no red candle right here. We got a gap, all right? We got a gap here. So that gap came all the way to the support here, and then this just ended as a bullish candle. Okay, this here ended as a bullish candle. with no tail at all to the downside. Of course, that's bullish in itself. Okay, and that's why I believe this really pushed higher from that support. Okay, that's for endurance. So we touched on pounds USD as well. We touched on USD JPY, waiting for that break and close below trendline support like that. We also looked at AUD USD. We have this resistance, all right? We have our eyes on this resistance to see how price reacts to it, all right? So we can make trade decisions. Euro AUD, if you remember this, we saw this, or I started talking about this when price was here inside of this consolidation. And I remember highlighting the fact that the longer a consolidation phase lasts, the more aggressive the resulting breakout usually is. And if you look at this, it's lasted since June, all right, since June, early June, all the way until when did we experience that break? January, all right, January, all right. So price broke below that. And then we saw some really fantastic follow-through candles. And now been pushing to the downside, which is expected considering the duration of this consolidation. All right, from June all the way to January. Right, that's like more than 6 months. Okay, that's like more than 6 months. Right. USD JPY. What did we say for that? USD is base, that's correct. It's the best currency. It's strong, should it be a buy trade? Now, because of the bullish moves that we saw for USD index, it has led some imbalances behind, and imbalances like that act as magnet for price. Right. So when I was talking about the USD index, I highlighted the fact that it has really pushed to, let's see, it really pushed higher. All right. And then it hits resistance here at around 97.5, as I mentioned earlier. And then for that reason, because it's now acting as resistance, we'd expect some correction. Right? We'd expect some correction before the next leg higher, right? So what I said is that to now take advantage of the correction that we expect here, we'll be looking at buy opportunities for those major pairs, all right? For those major pairs, the pairs with USD as one of the currencies, all right? So take advantage of this correction, all right? And then for the next push higher. So it looks something like this, right? So we're interested in this move right now. Interested in this move. Okay. You're welcome, sir. So we talked about Euro AUD too, and then USD CHF. Here, USD is also the base currency. I remember highlighting this 0.792 price level. I highlighted the fact that we would hardly see where price broke below 0.792 to continue to push back. We would hardly see where price broke below 0.792 until happened here, broke below 0.792 in September of 2025, closed back above it, and that gave us this aggressive push to the upside. The same thing happened here, broke below 0.792, also gave us an aggressive push to the upside towards 0.81, happened here as well, pushed back most recently here, and then pushed back again until we got this break below 0.792, the most recent one, and then that has stayed below 0.792 so far. All right. So because USD is the base currency here, again, because of the correction that is expected, you can expect this to also push to the downside before the next leg higher, if that's going to be the case. Okay, that's going to be the case. So I can also use my Fibo tool here to measure the pullback level for USD CHF. So we have between 50 and 61.8. So once I identify that, I take out the Fibo. So I'm looking at this level for the pullback. Right. Okay, so now let's look at AUD JPY as far as led for this request, and then CHF JPY right here. So let's start with this. On the daily time frame, one look at this and you can tell it is aggressively bullish. Okay, it is aggressively bullish. All right. So this is the daily time frame. We're looking for the important levels. All right. So we have this level here as resistance, and then for support. Right there. And then the last high that was broken. Yeah. So in order to join the buy here, okay, let's take it to 15 minutes. This is our prepared entry time frame. Okay, so on the 15-minute time frame, we have price above the 50-period moving average, which in itself is bullish. And then this level as resistance. Okay, here was resistance, back here as resistance as well. Here a support, here a support. So now that price broke below it, it automatically flips to resistance. So on this 15 minutes time frame, I need to see, in order for this to be interesting for me, I need to see a break above that resistance so that this automatically flips to support, and then I'll be taking the buys above that resistance. All right, while prices above the 50-period moving average. I now need to see a break above that resistance, and then I'll be looking for opportunities to buy above resistance. Okay, CHF JPY. Now let's look at the AUD counterpart. Okay, of course, on the daily time frame. All right, this is even more aggressive than CHF. It's already taken out the resistance here. So at 15 minutes. Okay, so on this 15-minute time frame, I'll be expecting some retracements into this area, and then that will be interesting for me to take buys. All right, that will be interesting for me to take buys if I see that move. Okay. Has really taken out multiple resistance. Okay, and currently it's trading above this previous resistance right here. It's trading above that. All right, so as I said, I'll be looking at a push back to this support, looking at a push back to this support for this to become interesting for me to take a buy. All right. They're waiting for a push back to the support level. All right. AUD JPY. You're welcome, sir. All right, so let's take it back. USD card. USD here is also the base currency. And then we have card as well. And for the Canadian dollar, of course, it receives support with high oil prices, all right, giving Canada's status as the largest crude exporter to the United States, all right? So it receives some support rising oil prices, okay? So the card, what it means is that it is positively correlated with the price of oil, okay, with the price of oil. So now, right here we have, okay, let me take it back so it's not confusing. Okay, so here, this was support, right? Here, this was support. And then this broke below it aggressively, and now price is around that area. Okay, this is the daily time frame. So what we have done is that we have identified the key levels. Okay, resistance right here, and then resistance right here as well. Because price is currently below that. So let's take it to 15 minutes now. Right, so on the 15 minutes time frame, again, this is our resistance level. We have price trading below the typical moving average. Okay. So let me see if I can do this. All right. So what I'll be watching here on this 15 minutes time frame for USD card would be a breakout of this consolidation trading between this trendline resistance and this trendline support. All right. It's recently tested the trendline support right here, and now we see it's beginning to push to the upside. All right. So a break below this would trigger some extensive move to the downside. So I'll be looking out for that. If we get that eventually, we get a break below this trend line support. All right. Don't forget, USD is the base currency here, and we're expecting some correction for the dollar index. All right. And this, of course, is expected to impact USD card as well. Okay. So I'll be looking out for a break below this support on the 15 minutes time frame. Start looking for opportunities to sell right there. And of course, what would invalidate that move would be if, on the other hand, what we see is a break above the trend line resistance. All right, you get that. And that would invalidate the bearish bias for USD card. So that's for USD card. NZD USD is another one that is interesting. We have resistance right here at 0.605. Again, this period, when price broke above 0.605, that's resistance, it closed back below it, and then that triggered this extensive move. Of course, this right here is a fake out too, triggers this extensive move to the downside. And right about now, We have another break right here. We have another break to the upside, and then it closed back below that. Okay, closed back below that. So NZD-USD. I believe this is bullish as a result of the correction on the USD index. USD is the counter currency here. USD is the counter currency here. So on the 15 minutes time frame, that's 0.605 would be our support. Yeah, right there will be our support because this has closed above it. So I'll be looking for some bullish moves above that. All right. I'll be looking for some bullish moves right here. I'll be looking for some bullish moves above 0.605. That's what that simply means. Okay. Any questions based on the assets we've been able to touch on so far? Now would be a good time to drop them. We looked at Euro USD, we looked at Pound USD, we looked at USD JPY, AUD USD, Euro AUD. We have quite a number of them. USD CHF, USD CAD, NZD, USD, and then AUD JPY, CHF JPY from a Labor Day. So we have quite a number of them to trade for today. And let's not forget, we have at 4:30 p.m. I believe. No, it's still tentative for USD, the jobs job openings. Okay, going to get that as well. Yes, you can switch between them. You can switch between them. You can switch between them. Thank you very much, Peter. Thank you very much. So endurance, yes, you can, and then you can switch between them. You won't be able to log in at the same time. But you can switch between the two accounts. Okay. All right. So I believe it's a fine place to leave it for today. Thank you very much for taking the time out to join. It's been really great talking to us for about an hour, for the past hour. Thank you very much once again for taking the time out to join. Don't forget, tomorrow, same time from 8 a.m., we're going to have another edition of our Money Market Review. Do make out some time to join us yet again, as we will also be looking at the direction in the market. Thank you very much, Mr. John Olusola. I appreciate your kind gesture and I wish us a great trading day. And Sherry's be saying bye for now.